Welcome back. I've got the 95 Olds back, or the Series 2. One thing this video is going to cover, we're going to cover some of the common complaints with the 3.8 Series 2, and a couple that I've found from working on these over the years. I'm kind of at a loss for words because the Series 1 was actually a phenomenal engine. I got one here, and I'll show you some pictures of it. But you know, and with the Series 2, a couple things incorporated, you know, a lot of plastic parts. You know, some of it to me seems like some rushed engineering, but also the way that they incorporated some of the parts. Now, today we're going to be going after the timing cover gasket, but I mean, you're going to open the timing cover gasket, you might as well do the chain, you're already there. And these do have a history of just one day you go out, turn the key, and the chain splits on you. And that's because the tensioner will tend to bind up a stretched chain, and then next thing you know, it's over, won't start, and $600 later, thank you, pay me, it runs again. I'm going to take you through a closer look at where the leaks are. We got a lot to tear down, so stay tuned. There's a good way to lose a finger.
Uh-huh. That's why I pulled the wrench. Alright, so this belt is a little interesting. Look how this thing is wrapped around. I don't know how to...
Leave it hooked up for now, and let's look at that later, because we can deal with that later.
The next thing I'm going to do is tack the bolt back here. Connectors to the alternator. Let's pop that up. It should come off pretty easily. And then you have your... Oh, well. At least it's tight. You also have the connection in the back of the alternator as well. Alright, so you can't just tear off the alternator just yet. You got this bracket in the way right here, and this runs underneath the ignition coils. And it looks like I'm going to need a deep 13 for that. And an extension. Alright, now the bracket should come off. Now you can finally get to this bolt to get your alternator out of the way. Oh man.
I don't think it's been apart before. Or Hercules put it back together.
Aluminum.
Will she move?
Alright, well, should be able to pop the alternator up. I mean, unless it's a Mazda, you might have like a head and third bolt there.
Oh, the famous back bracket. Kept that in Series 2.
What? There's two of them?
That's a big alternator, man. This thing had a lot of power. That's probably a 140 amp alternator right there. That's what I need to throw in my truck. Pretty sad this car's got more power in it than my truck does for towing, as far as electrical power goes. One bolter got you again.
There's another bolt.
Where's this tricky one lie?
Right underneath the alternator, actually.
Ooh.
You serious? Dude, I swear it's like a 3-hour tip.
Yeah, I see it moving now.
It's like a 3-hour teardown for something simple.
Yes, this is why new cars are so expensive to work on. And we hand a bill off for $250. Our customers think we ripped them off. But then they go to shop this job around. They realize it's $700. We did them a favor. But we do have good customers, though. I can't complain. We're grateful for the work. They're just not grateful for the bill. Come on, one bolter. You ain't got that thing out yet? Oh. Is it a long bolt? Oh. Yeah, GM loves their long bolts, man.
Dude.
I wonder how much that sucker is new. I bet you that's a $200 alternator. Alright, I'm going to turn the flashlight on just to kind of show you a wet area. When we had this in last time, I had told the owner, or the previous owner, that there's a possibility that you're probably going to end up having to do this front cover, but at the time, because this thing had spilled so much oil and coolant, I couldn't make 100% determination. So we sent it on its way, and about a month later, she goes, yeah, it's losing a little bit of coolant. It's not too bad, which we knew right there what it was a front cover gasket, which is a problem in these cars. People use tap water tears up the gaskets. As you've seen, we've already gone through the intake side of it. But now we got to go to the front cover, and I'm praying to God that we don't have to do the rear cover gasket. This engine actually incorporates a rear cover, and the only way to get to it, either transmission comes out or the engine comes out. So luckily we don't see a leak there, but we know this one we've had for a while. So let's give you a closer look. Okay, now in this case, if you've already done the intake gasket and you're still losing coolant, it's really important to look in this area, but here's a telltale sign the front cover gasket is leaking. You can see how wet it is. I don't know how well the camera's going to pick it up, but it's pretty wet. And that's one thing we noticed. When you look down here, get a couple good close-ups there. You can just see how wet stuff is, and it shouldn't be wet like that. That's no good, but again, she didn't want to go in that deep, and at the time, we'd already had the car for a period of time, because sometimes finding parts for this can be interesting, although not impossible. Let's see where else is it wet. Yeah, we got some wetness there, and some of it's the valve cover problem in these. Some of it's this coolant. You can tell it's coolant just by the way the oil beats up. So we know for sure. Power steering pump's got to come out of the way. Tensioner's got to come out of the way. I'm fairly sure this mount's going to end up coming out of the way. Balancer's got to come out of the way. Water pump, you can leave that or you can take that before you take the cover. Alright, sounds fun, right? Let's get busy. First things first, we're going to remove the heater core hoses. I'll leave the clamps on the hoses, makes it quicker for reassembly. Get this sucker out of the way. And after you got all your bolts removed, just pull your tensioner here. You're going to lose a little bit of coolant when you do this. There you go. Alright, get this out of the way. Alright, next to be removed is power steering pump. Okay, there's only 2 mounting bolts for the power steering pump. Some GMs I work on have 4, some have 3, it all varies. You can see how wet it is. Now we're finally starting to get this thing opened up, and all this is from the seep in the covers, not the head gasket. We check. Good compression, coolant's coolant, oil's oil, so and these front covers though, these things are leaking. Leaking nightmares. You start to get it opened up though, that's when you can really see how bad it is. You see how wet that is, and that's not from the intake leaking, that's fixed too. So we knew the cover gasket was going, no surprise there. Alright, we're going to continue on with teardown. Camera will not fit in there, so basically you just go through the hole on all 3 bolts you got to get out.